Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. So let's continue. Let's continue modeling our Audi RS6 GT Avant. So we got a good foundation to work with, a good foundation. So now we can start really thinking about modeling the door, and it follows the principles we've already set up. Although speaking of principles, I feel like we're missing a line around there. I feel like we're missing a line around there, to be honest. But we just want to, like, I feel like we're missing that line. We got that one. Yeah, we got that one. There it is. But this one, how did we miss that one? How did we miss that one? And it follows the light unit. Yeah, I have no idea how we missed that one, but we did. There it is. It follows the light unit. Perfect. Literally somewhere around there. It literally follows that light unit. Strange. Very strange. But yeah, we did. We did miss that one. And that's a strange one because it's very similar to what we already created up there. We just need to bring this down and tuck it underneath and probably add another vertice, well, another loop, and add another loop on top as well. It's more or less something like that. It's there, but it's not easily perceivable. That's the thing. As for a lot of these, we can actually bring these ones out and just you bring them forward. Yeah, just take them forward. But I noticed that at the front, they're not as visible. So we're just gonna go ahead and separate some of these. It tends to get more sharper the further down you go. So like this, we can separate this a little bit, kind of like what we got going on there. And the unique thing about how I got that is I basically just flatten it. That's literally what I did. But then you sort of have to rotate it that way. Even with these ones, rotate those as well. But you can see how much I separated those to get that effect. Even even just going further up, gradually have them getting closer together. Wow, that's just a beautiful design, isn't it? That's just stunning. My goodness. Question though, which of these grooves are deeper? I definitely think this one is a bit more deeper in grain. Yeah, I definitely think this one is a bit deeper in grain. That's for sure. But I also think this one may need to bring that down just a bit more. May need to bring that down just a bit more like that. Oh, and let's disable these ones right there. The ones that we don't really want to affect. Let's get rid of those ones because these ones we're gonna carry this up just a little bit. And then that's another thing is from the side, we're also gonna carry this up just a little bit in general. Helps to give the car that confidence. You see what I mean? It helps to give the car that level of confidence that it is so critical. Even just these ones in general, just hype those up just a little bit. Just to help to give the car a curvature we're looking for, that confidence that we're looking for. It's good. It is very good. And to look at the blueprint as well, use that blueprint as your reference. This line looks like it should be following that. Yeah. Think about it, right? That it definitely looks like it's supposed to be following like over there a bit more, in my opinion. I say opinion, but it's the blueprint. It's literally right in front of us. So we're just going to readjust a lot of this. Kind of like that, yeah, kind of like that. Although I think these ones may need to come out a little bit more. Once again, it's just like it's helping to increase that confidence in the car designs. Let's bring these one in just a little bit. Use that blueprint to your advantage. How about this area? Yeah, definitely bring that in as well. Carry that part in as well. Carry this one out. In general, this area might need to just be brought out a little bit. So weird. Just to make sure we're following that blueprint. This area, yeah, just carry that one out just a little bit. I'm gonna carry these closer to each other just a little bit once again. Perfect. These ones are gonna carry these ones out just a bit. Even these ones right here, just carry those ones out just a little bit right there. Let's give that a bit more of a character. So there's a curvature that's going on there. It's not just boring, you know, it genuinely feels curved as it should. So that's a little detail that I sort of missed. Let's turn off the mirror because I'm having troubles with my mirror right now. So from the top blueprint, this looks fine, but from the side, it looks a little bit too much. I'm gonna stick to our original position. It was somewhere around here. Stick to the original position, and actually, uniquely, I just noticed this might need to be brought out a little bit like that. And if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it with all of them. Just keep that flowing. Right, because once we duplicate this, we carry it forward a little bit. We press P to separate, tab out, select, and tab back in. Select all. We can then start extruding. Is that what the car looks like? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's good work. We might need another image to reflect on. So if you have any spare images, go grab your images. That's going to help with this proportion as well. Like viewing the car from this angle, if you have any better images, feel free to use them to your advantage. What I will be using is as much of these videos that I can find. You know, if you look at this car from the wrong angle, you could swear that it's a Volkswagen. Come on now. And I probably just pissed off 100% of people doing this course. I'm sorry, but you look at this car from the wrong angle and it looks like a Volkswagen. Hey, by the way, there's nothing wrong with Volkswagens. My first car was a Volkswagen Polo, and my second car was almost a Volkswagen Polo. So, first thing first, a lot of these vertices, we need to bring them in. We need to bring them in, and we shall. And we'll also dissolve some of these vertices also. Yeah, we'll dissolve some of these vertices. Notice that the top, right around there, it's something I noticed a little bit earlier on. Notice right there, halfway, that's where that line begins. You know, strange enough, I think this might need to be lowered. Like this entire thing. I think this might need to be lowered. As strange as that is, I think this might need to be lowered. That's strange to say, but it is true. Just looking back at that detail, you realize that this groove, it doesn't go up to the edge. It's in the center. It's in the center around there. And this is brought back. These ones are brought up. These ones, let's get these ones down. Yeah, so this groove, it follows a central kind of line around that area. Even this one right here follows a central kind of line. The good news is that we caught it. We caught it in time. It follows a central design, but it still needs to be protruded kind of like that. Strange. It's kind of like it needs to come out a little bit. Not entirely like that, but let's just double check. Okay, it is indented, but it's like this piece now needs to be extruded kind of like that. So it's kind of like we're going to do it with this entire thing. So we're just going to bring these ones out. Just a little bit of rework. Just reworking that. And so these ones, we can basically press double G, bring those down around there. But clearly, so it got the central positioning, but now clearly we need to bring these out. Isn't so easy to do. There's also, we don't want to mess this up. If you bring it out too much, then it looks like it's coming off the center, which ironically it should. See where the livery is? It does edge out. Yes, it does edge out. So actually bringing it out like that is actually correct. That is strange. So bringing it out like that is actually correct. Maybe even a little bit more perfect. Ah, you can see where that line is right there. So apparently even more is necessary. So it's not perfectly on that livery line, but it's close. If we spotted this a lot sooner, we could have possibly corrected it a lot sooner. Or maybe you did spot it a lot sooner. So good job to you if you spotted that a lot sooner. Good job to you. But I didn't. That's looking a little bit better. And now we may just need to bring it up. almost like all of that. We may just need to bring this up now, kind of like that. Let's bring this one around. Even though from the front, it tells a different story from the front. From the top and from the front, it tells a different story. But I think we're gonna go with that. I think so. And honestly, with these pieces, if we wanted to bring this up further, we could, as long as we fix that part. And you can see fixing it might just be a situation of simply just moving these in a little bit. As for these ones, we can probably flatten that as well, although we don't want it to be too flat. So what we could do is rotate it. We could rotate it a little bit and gives us that beautiful look right there. Could rotate this one as well. Perfect. These ones, we could carry those ones up, although it's not the intended purpose. The intended purpose is actually to carry these ones up, close out that gap if there's any. That's if your version have any gaps. It's the way you can close them out. A little gap is okay, but it should be very, very small, almost non-noticeable. Okay, that was interesting. Very, very interesting. You can also sharpen this if you wanted to. I think it is a little bit sharp on the real thing. So we could add a loop and sharpen that up a little bit. And that's also something we can change later if we wanted to. So you can see we're not even at the door yet, but we're making sure that things are in line. What about these vertices now? What if we put those ones up there? Could that work? It could. It definitely could. And if we wanted to, we could carry it up like that as well. Yeah, that could, but might have to add another vertex, well, another loop cut right there, which is unideal. It's unideal. So I feel like what would be a better choice is to use these ones. Because remember now, these ones, they're supposed to be up there. I feel like that could be, I feel like that could be a better choice. So I'll carry these ones down. Perfect. Okay, these vertices right here, we're just gonna carry these up just a little bit, not too much at all. Carry them back down just a bit, and I think that should be okay. In terms of these two cuts, might need to dissolve those. Probably don't even need them. Actually, probably do. Probably do need them. But what we could do is to carry them out around there. And then with those two, we could carry them out a little bit like that. And to be honest, could be the same thing with these ones. Could carry these one out. But as crazy as this sound, that sharp line, don't quite like it. So let's be careful and keep these pieces separated for now because there's that sharp line that gets created and I'm not liking it. So do whatever we can do to basically avoid that one. Probably separate these also further up here. That's actually looking good. That is actually looking rather good. And to be honest, this entire thing might just bring this all back. Might just bring this one there, and this entire thing, just bring this back a little bit. Just want to make sure we're not getting overly ambitious with that. Now we can continue with the door design. Yes, finally, I know. But now I feel as if we know what we're doing. I sure as hell hope so. So I can carry that one up there. Like I said, it's halfway between those two areas, those two curves. Dissolve that vertice, dissolve that vertice. We'll keep those two vertices right there to remind us that we have that line right there. Well, we got that line that goes straight through, got that one right there, and then we got another one right there. Wow, so this line actually, that's a real thing. But my question is, how visible is this line? It's visible, but it's it is there. Oh my goodness, it is there. So you know what? We'll remember to keep a couple of vertices around there for that one. Can probably dissolve this one. And now further down here, the difficult part. Definitely gonna need a couple of vertices around that area because that area is actually indented. You can see further down there, it's actually indented and it's gonna take a lot of research. It's gonna take a lot of time. I don't know if you can hear the excitement in my voice. I am genuinely excited. Genuinely excited. We know that's indented. We don't know by how much, so it requires further analysis, further research. But that right there is a little bit complex. So you know what? We're gonna go there last. We're gonna start up here. That's a good idea. We're gonna start up here, and what we can actually do is, for one, add another vertex right there because we know there's two. Gonna bring this one back, bring this one there, bring those two back a little bit. Perfect. And then we could extrude. That's an option. That is an option, but I don't even think I would recommend it. Let's just duplicate first. Let's start off simple. Let's just duplicate these vertices there. And let's just get these aligned. It's best to start off simple. It really is. And let's lower the opacity on this one. Finally, we can lower our opacity once again. And let's match this up with the necessary areas. So when we start extruding that area right there, makes sense. My question is, doesn't this need to be a little bit further up? How would we know? I don't think so, because if we extruded this, it aligns around that area. So it actually runs parallel with exactly where we want it to. It actually runs parallel rather well. Didn't mean to make that one rhyme, just happened. But that part actually runs parallel. So what if we now line that area also? Add another vertex here around there. Bring this one back. If we wanted to, we could fill. We may need another vertex around here. We may need to duplicate this one right there. Duplicate that one right there. So with these two, we can actually fill. With these two, we can actually fill that also. I know, we'll see how that's looking. It's interesting. Let's select all, Shift N just in case. Okay, you can see right here, need to bring this one up a little bit, and clearly this needs to be closer in. But I feel like this also is almost begging us to also be further in. Is it possible that this should be higher up? That's possible. It's definitely possible, but it's also possible that this area is the one that needs to be tilted in, which means that this entire loop might be the one that needs to be a little bit further up. See that right there? We're not supposed to be that high up, but it is supposed to be folded in. That's what I feel. I feel it is supposed to be like folded inwards as per the car design. Let's join those. I feel like it's like that. Like it's not the entire way up, but it's supposed to be folded in. As for this part, let's lower this. As for that part, let's also lower that. Let's lower that part as well. And let's lower that part. The reason I do that is because this feels like it's a little bit too high. Let's bring this part back down. I feel like this is barely lifted up, but like I said, it's more or less folded inwards. This is on level, but I see what the issue is actually. This should be a little bit higher, but I think this one might need to be lowered. Yeah, I feel like this one may need to be lowered. So for one, and this one needs to be taken in. Just gonna move those in just a little bit. Then press double G, carry that one down, but again, fold it in. And again, probably bring this part out just a little bit. Remember these ones. These ones, duplicate them, carry them there. The sharpness stops shortly afterwards. It doesn't continue all the way through. But this one does continue all the way through. So for now, we're going to add a loop right there. We're going to fill that face. I'm going to duplicate this. Going to add a loop right there. Well, actually, let's fill these ones. Add a loop right there, and perfect. I want the car to follow that natural form. It's very important that the car follows that natural form. Isn't the topology beautiful? My goodness. Beautiful topology right there. Beautiful topology work. Might need to protrude this a little bit more. This is not so easy because, like I said, it's very difficult to get this to look like it's all it's all natural, you know, it's not easy. Probably have to add a loop around there, get this part looking supernatural. Looking good. It's looking good, don't get me wrong. But if anything, I think this one needs to be lowered. Kind of like that, honestly. Kind of like that. Now, if you design a car this way, it's very difficult to go wrong because you're following every single principle. We're going to add, duplicate and add that loop around there. Perfect. These ones we can fill with those ones, duplicate them, carry them out. There's another thing as well is that it's how the car bends, and we're going to need to start thinking about that because relatively right there, it sort of bends with the with the rest of the vehicle, but want to be want to be extra careful because that's the body shape right there. Want to be extra careful that we're getting that right. So like this, so like this side, want to be extra careful that it's tilted out ever so slightly, you know? That's important. I mean, to be honest, it's also important that these areas are also tilted out, you know? And this is where it doesn't continue. So when we fill this face, that line stops around there. How interesting. So could we add a loop around there and join those? Would that make any difference? Would that help? What if we then brought this one in? It's not ideal, is it? What if we connected those? Okay, that's possible. That's a possible solution. You can't say that doesn't work. That's a thing. You can't say that doesn't work. No, no, it's well, doesn't work perfectly. I got a little bit too confident right there. Yeah, got a little bit too confident. So that works, but well, at least it works. Isn't that what matters? At least it works. So when we fill this face and have an interesting design going on right there. Okay, so then we can add a loop around here and we can, would this be a good idea to join those? I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. Turns out we could. Turns out we could, and then we could just carry this one out because it is, I keep on saying this, but all these Audi cars are famous for it's sharp, it's angular, but the curvature is just supreme. But then we have this line to take care of. How do we take care of that line? Unfortunately, it might just be dissolving those edges. That may just be the solution. Because if we shade smooth and it's high quality, then it doesn't really affect us. And we can also bring that part out also. But then this little area, what about that area right there? What if we did that? Mostly so that we can just carry this one out. I don't think it works. I don't think it works. What if we did this? I don't think that works either. So that might require some further work, some further detailing. But one thing I know, we probably don't want two of these right there. One is enough. It's not just that one is enough, but also protruding it a little bit as well. We'll do the same thing with these ones. We'll just protrude it a little. Even though I feel like this should be protruded even more. But if we do that, we're going to need to do it with the entire thing. Kind of like that. I don't know, that doesn't look good either. That's not that's not quite what I wanted, but it's better to try than not, I'd say. You know, I just added that right there. I don't know, it just felt like we could fix that area. But maybe that's for another time. Maybe that sort of requires more attention. Let's carry that one up. These two, let's carry these one back there. Perfect. We can also duplicate this, carry this one down, but edge it out a little bit. So can fill those, can fill those also, can fill those. And this sort of brings us to the next line that we have, sort of runs through there. So it's very interesting that we have a line that runs through this area. How interesting is that? I wonder if we could just carry this one up. Let's carry it up, insert it a little, add a loop cut around there, or add a loop cut around here. It's possible. That's possible, but it doesn't feel entirely right. It really doesn't. What about like that? Is that possible? And then add another one right there. That might be possible. That may be the solution we're looking for. It might be the solution right there. To be honest, I personally think I'd rather add a loop around there and work on that one. But honestly, let's first think about this idea, right? So it's interesting also because this is where the design protrudes the most, I feel. This is like where the design protrudes the most. Probably both of those. This is where I feel as if it protrudes the most, which means that we might need to do that a little bit. But from there, it's sort of that's a rather sharp angle right there. It protrudes the most right there, then it sort of it folds within gradually. So we're going to bring this there. We understand that we need to rotate it possibly on the y-axis a little bit like that because it folds. It folds from there. So exactly what we're going to do is start to fill. Let's bring this one there. Let's bring this one there. Let's delete that edge. Let's fill those. That one needs to be there also. Okay. So we can continue just modeling out as we go. Like I said, this is rather sharp. Got to make sure it follows that beautiful line. And I think at the moment it's a bit too sharp on our design. You can see right there, it's a little bit too sharp on our design, which is okay. We just need to rethink it. So bringing that part up, bring that part down. That's a bit better. See what I mean when I say this looks like a VW from the wrong angle? Yeah. No offense to VW. I love a VW, as long as it's an Audi. It's let's bring this in. Just a little VW joke right there. And with the rest of it, it really continues to fold until we get to here. But it folds within, like all the way down. We're gonna keep it simple. We're not gonna so even this part needs to be protruded in quite a bit. And then we could do this actually. Could do that. This one might get rid of that one. Yeah, might get rid of that one. Not gonna lie. So we can add one right there, and we can add one right there. Now these are all on different levels. So gonna need to carry this in. And this is the thing with Blender is that, as I start to design cars a bit more in Blender, I start to realize Blender is not necessarily a CAD software. Not at all. Not at all, really. But it has some feature that are similar to CAD. But that doesn't mean that it's anywhere close to what you would get from a CAD software. A CAD software, it's built for the idea of engineering. So Blender is not really built for that in mind. Blender is not an engineering app. It's an animation app, and that's okay. But a lot of us do use Blender as if it's an engineering app. But in actuality, the closer and closer you get, the more you realize actually, no, 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 no. Blender is not an engineering app. Got to remind ourselves. Okay, then we're getting closer to this area. So I'm going to need some close-up images of that area. You see right there, that's more of a curvature right there. So that right there, that's more like a curvature. So we can actually bring these loops down. Let's dissolve this one. Let's carry that one there. Could bring it down more. But yeah, you realize, you could model a 3D car, but, you know, I've been told before, like people say, as engineers, they might struggle in Blender. And I kind of get it because it is not a software that's built for those people, those engineers. It's a very different skill set. It's a very different mentality. This is a very good image right there. So there's a bezel right there. Then it's indented with another bezel. It's extruded with another bezel. So like I said, there's a bezel right here. That's actually just hilarious. No idea. But yes, there is a bezel right there. So it just more or less just okay, you know what? You can actually delete this. Delete that. Because we're gonna start extruding. So we can actually just extrude because like we've said, there's an edge right there. Then extrude again. And this one is for that area. But it's even more indented. guess what? Which is why, yeah, that's even more indented. Crazy as that sounds. So, in my experience, designing cars in Blender, I've used other strategies before, and this one works way better. Especially designing this area of the car, which I usually thought this is going to be my biggest struggle. Turns out, whatever you think your biggest struggle is going to be, life will surprise you. Life has surprises for you. Yeah, so we're also just going to extrude that area. Could also just extrude these areas also, and that's okay. I've designed this area of a car differently when I was a bit less experienced, but as I gain experience points, then clarity hits. Okay, so clearly we can bring this up a little bit and extrude it a little bit. Okay, so that's there. And then we need to extrude it once more and then carry it out again. So perfect. So nice to have a blueprint. We're going to carry this up a little bit. We're going to carry this up a little bit because this area, I think we've made this mistake before where we've probably followed the blueprint a little bit too closely. But honestly, sometimes you just gotta accept that you're going to make mistakes, and sometimes it sets you up perfectly to learn from them and correct your mistakes. Sometimes it does. So that area extrudes right there. Perfect. Let's look at delivery. Yeah, this area extrudes right there. Perfect. Very indented. Nice bezel going on right there. So we're going to need to extrude this again and bring it closer to the side skirt. Oh, excellent. Let's level this for one. Actually, nah, let's not do that. Let's do that manually. Let's do that manually. We don't want to mess that up. Let's save our beautiful design and extrude again to the side skirt. Perfect. And we'll add a loop right there and see if that, wow, perfect. And if we add a loop on the inside right there, sharpen it up, or if we just add one right there, sharpens it up. What if we added one right there? What if we just added one around that area and draw these closer together? Perfect. And what if we added one right there? Perfect. Ooh, that's too beautiful. That is too beautiful. I just hope that I got that part right. I think some parts of it needs to be edged out. I'm not gonna lie. I think some of these areas needs to be edged out. I'm just being honest here. I think a lot of these areas, because I'm just looking at it from the top, and you can clearly see it's almost as if it's edged out a little bit more, maybe a little bit more, and see how that looks. Well, we didn't mess it up. If you get a feeling, you try something and you didn't mess it up, let's bring this out just a little bit. We don't want to be too bold, just a little bit generous. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is miraculous. My goodness. I'm in love. I'm in love, but I'm also in awe. Like I'm in, I'm speechless. I'm honestly speechless. Okay, and let's add a vertex around this area. Perfect. But yes, I'm actually speechless. Like I wouldn't imagine that like I can do this. I bring me back last year. Couldn't imagine that I got this good at modeling. And now we got the side skirt. Are you ready for this? Okay, so the side skirt is actually very interesting. We already created the platform, the foundations. We already have a good foundations to build off when it comes to the side skirt, and we just need to indent it right there. Looks like so side skirt might not actually be too difficult. And for one, it follows the, you know what? I'm going to separate the side skirt. Yeah, just so we can hyper focus on that a little bit more. I'm gonna carry this one out there. And these, gonna carry those one out. That one, we're gonna carry those one out. Gonna carry this one out. Gonna carry this one in. Just gonna adjust those a little bit. I feel as if this entire area needs a bit of rework on both sides. Like for one, this is It's where all of that starts, you know? And speaking of where this all starts, that doesn't look curved. That does not look like it's curved, but it's very difficult to do. So we're not even going to touch that area yet because we know that's going to be a lot of heavy work. So before we even get to that area, we want to be careful with how we proceed. What if we bring that one up and just take it in? Okay, good. Carry that one up as well. Okay, good. It remains stable. That's good then. That's very good. Bring this one out small amount. Bring this one out small amount. Excellent. And as for these ones, yeah, you bring those down. Okay, so we know that this side skirt is all one thing, so we can actually just extrude it if we wanted to. I'm curious though. I am curious about this area. I am very curious about that area. And in order to get that area right, we want to make sure that we can see the car properly from the sides. And I don't mean the blueprint. I mean more like this. You can get some good footage from Auto Trader. Okay, just to confirm the side skirt, it starts where the red livery is. The door handle, the door of the car, it stops where the black livery stops. So that's good to know. It's good to know that the side skirt actually goes up. I just wanted to confirm that, that the side skirt actually kind of goes up. It starts a little bit smaller down there, but as it goes further towards the rear of the car, it actually expands and it expands upwards. We may also need to, there you go. We may also need to add some some additional details, well, like some cuts. So another question is how straight is the side skirt relative to the vehicle? Because one thing we know for sure is that, well, let's just add some loop cuts so we can mirror what we have on the door. One thing we know for sure is that the side skirt go in, but my question is, does the entire thing go in? Let's try that again. The reason I do this manually is because I want to see how this genuinely looks. Does the entire thing goes in like that, or or is it just these part that folds in? So the reason I do this manually is to see for myself. That's a good question. How can we determine that? Well, to be honest, I'm just gonna watch videos like this just to see for myself and have a judge. I think though, as you can see right there, it's not the entire side skirt. It's just that part that folds in. And and that's how easy it is to confirm the information we require. So literally what I already did just now, that's literally what it is. And another thing, this loop, let's bring this up a little bit like there. Let's rotate this. Let's bring this up right there so it actually matches, that's the point. I want it to line up with each other. Similar thing with this area. I want to make sure this lines up with each other. Similar thing with this area, just to make sure it all lines up. We can add another loop around there just to close that out if we wanted to. Just just like how we can add a loop right here. Can also add one right there. And the unique thing is that if we do realize that we need to remove those, we can always remove those. Now it's time to adjust these parts. Question, from the top, does the side skirt actually extrude that much? I don't know. They might bend in a little bit, but I don't think it's by much. So the side skirt might actually bend in a little bit, but I don't think it's by much if I'm being completely honest. And I think if we're going to bend it in, it's probably going to be with the entire thing like that. Because I'm just viewing it from the top and I'm just realizing that it's almost like it's dipped underneath. You can see like it's the side skirt is almost like it's underneath the door, like it's hidden. So if our side skirt is exposed, that begs the question, do we need to carry this inwards? And even with this part, can probably carry that part out just a little bit. Question, do we need this one? That's interesting. That is interesting. I can like carry this part there and carry that part further down and do that. And this area, carry this area in. And actually, we don't want to mess with that area. That is a that is a monster of a problem waiting to occur. And another thing is that we might want to separate these pieces a little bit. Don't give them a problem. Yeah, don't start a problem where there isn't one. And just bring this in a little bit. Not the entire way, but just a little bit. And I think that'll do. Although this area, interestingly, that needs to be brought out, kind of like that. And in terms of this area, we can actually bring this one in. Probably bring this one out a little bit. And probably keep control of the entire thing by bringing this entire thing in. Oh, that's too good to be true. That is too good to be true. So next, we want to work on this area. This is the exciting area where we get to start adding cuts and stuff. So that's our side skirt. You can see how it protrudes in. Yep, that's interesting, isn't it? So for one with these ones, can probably bring these ones down around there because this entire thing we're going to cut this entire thing out pretty much. So let's save that. Let's separate. Perfect. And as for this area, we can add another loop cut or we can add one around there. I know I still feel as if this is probably a little bit too far in. And as for this part, carry that part in just a little bit. And as for this part, carry that down like there. Okay. So we can start doing this, can start like giving them some space, some spacing. Not too much space. I feel like we might have given this one a bit too much space. Even even this one there, it should be a small amount like that. And I'm just holding shift. I just realized screencast keys have been off this entire time. I am terribly sorry. So there is a distance between them, but it's very subtle. With this side, it's the same thing. It's very subtle. Very, very subtle. Let's bring this there. Let's bring this here. If you wanted to start over fresh, you could delete that and just add a new one around there, but not always necessary. Not always necessary at all. Carry this one up, carry that one down. And as for these ones, just carry this one back just a little bit. Not too much at all. Carry this one back also. Perfect. Could probably carry that one back to mirror it. Or carry it up, actually. Very fine detail right there, but that's where it begins. Is there anything we've forgotten? Maybe up here. Maybe we need a loop cut around this area. Maybe on top around there. This one will need a bit more work. Can add a loop cut around there as well, but this one will need a bit more work because as you can see, this is not supposed to be super bezel. It's not. It's supposed to look a little bit like that, but we're missing something and we're probably just missing a loop cut. So if we select both of them and look at them like that, you can see it's pretty much what it is. It's almost like it's missing a loop, and that loop is probably around there. And this needs to be a little bit indented and a bit further up. This also needs to be indent all of these. Actually, this entire thing feels like it needs to be closer within, and that's looking a lot better. From this angle, you can clearly see this needs to be brought down. The better you can align them, the better it'll look. Let's turn off the magnet. Sometimes that thing turns on by accident. I have no idea how. But wow. Wow, if you've gotten this far, that's super impressive work right there. You'll probably delete one of these vertices. You can see from there, that's carbon fiber. And that looks like a carbon fiber step. My goodness. So that's like further further analysis, further work, further research. That's almost like it's for another episode, I would think. We would need like additional images of the side skirt, which we can get online. And there are various different side skirts. Keep that in mind. For the RS6, it's a special car. Feel free to experiment and try something different. Honestly, feel free to experiment and try something different. But this part, I feel as if we're gonna need. I feel as if this part is more for another episode. But that's fantastic work that we've done so far. Everyone who's watching, wow, that looks pretty good. Maybe not this area right there. We need to be careful that we don't mess that up. But that looks pretty damn good. If you've gotten this far, excellent. Absolutely brilliant for you if you've gotten this far. Absolutely brilliant job to you if you've gotten this far. That, and don't forget your mirror. Don't forget that mirror on that side. Ooh, I almost forgot. Don't forget your mirror modifier for that side. Don't forget your mirror modifier for your side skirts either. That's looking a little bit more crazy. That's looking really good. And so far, we've been able to do this without the shrink wrap. That's impressive because to get the lines to be so smooth, it either takes a lot of practice or shrink wrap. And I don't like shrink wrap. I don't like shrink wrap for various reasons. I've used it, it's very helpful, but I feel like I'd like to learn, car modeling without the use of shrink wrap. And I feel like this Audi RS6 is teaching us exactly that. It's fantastic. Congrats to you if you've gotten this far. Yeah, you can share your progress with me on Twitter, Instagram, leave a comment to support the video. Share this with a friend. If you know a friend who wants to learn how to design cars, that they really like cars, perfect. This is the free YouTube course for that purpose. This is honestly the free YouTube course for that purpose. We're doing terrific so far. It's not perfect, but damn it, it's close to perfect as perfect can be. Don't forget to share on social media as well. Look at that. I cannot believe I created that. If you were to go back in time and tell me last year that I'd create this in just a few episodes, I wouldn't have known what to think. But doing it now just feels so natural. Once I learned the basics of car design, and one of the things is that it takes time, it takes patience. You can't do it all at once. You have to do small parts and like building a pyramid. It's one stone at a time. But listen, fantastic work. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you in our next video.